I'd like to start by thanking Pasco County Sheriff Chris Nacco and Tampa Police Assistant Chief Lee Burkall for joining us today. We're here to announce the end of a 3-month-long multi-agency operation dubbed Operation Trifecta. As you know, the Tampa Bay area encompasses several cities and counties, and criminals don't see jurisdictional boundaries when they decide to victimize our community. Operation Trifecta was an investigation that started in the Odessa, Keystone, and Lutz areas of our county, and began when detectives identified residential burglary trends from September to November of last year, where suspects would enter homes by breaking in through the rear sliding glass doors or back windows. The suspects would use a white utility van and would wear reflective vests and camouflage hats to disguise themselves as construction workers. These burglaries would occur during the day, when most homeowners are hard at work, leaving the suspects to take essentially anything of value that they know that they could resell. These suspects were basically shopping for luxury items inside our homes. In just a few months, the suspects stole more than $1 million worth of property from homes across the Tampa Bay area. During one of the burglaries that occurred within minutes of each other, the suspect stole a .38 caliber handgun, and at the other home, the homeowner was actually home. She hid in fear while calling 911. Thankfully, the homeowner was not harmed, and the burglars fled when they realized someone was home. After sharing details about these criminals and crime trends with our law enforcement partner agencies, the Pasco County Sheriff's Office and Tampa Police Department conveyed that they too were investigating cases that were almost identical to the burglaries we were investigating, involving the same suspects. The suspects you see on the screen were identified and surveilled by undercover detectives, which led us to the location on Wilski Boulevard next to Smart Steps Academy. It was here, next to this child care facility, that the owner, Yarisli Cuervo Reyes, and her husband, Uniel Gallardo, and the other suspects would meet before and after committing all of these burglaries. I can't stress enough the importance of interagency cooperation. It is because we share such a great partnership with the Tampa Police Department and the Pasco County Sheriff's Office that we were able to identify the essential elements of this criminal enterprise, so that we could finally put an end to this crime spree. We have identified and connected these 6 suspects to 7 residential burglaries in Hillsborough County, 15 within the city of Tampa, and 2 within Pasco County, bringing the total number of burglaries to date to 24, amounting to, again, more than $1 million worth of stolen items and resulting in the arrest of all 6 individuals. You will find the information on the 6 arrested individuals and their applicable charges in the press packets that you will be provided. This investigation is ongoing as detectives work to link these defendants to even more residential burglaries. Again, I want to thank Pasco County Sheriff and all the sheriffs. I want to thank Sheriff Nacco and the Pasco County Sheriff's Office and Chief Dugan and the Tampa Police Department for their assistance during this operation. I would also like to thank the men and women of all 3 agencies who worked diligently to end this crime spree. I would now like to invite Pasco County Sheriff Chris Nacco, then Tampa Police Assistant Chief Lee Burkall to discuss the burglaries that affected their areas. Sheriff Nacco.
Thank you. Thanks, Sheriff Cronister. Friendship and partnership is beyond what I can tell you is our working relationship is great, and Deputy Chief Lee Burkall has been a good friend and partner with us in the state attorney's office, U.S. Attorney's office, statewide prosecutor. We're very blessed here in Pasco County and throughout the Tampa Bay region to have such good partners. The other person I want to thank is Mayor Jane Castor. She's now the mayor, but when she was chief, she helped to build those relationships. So I want to thank the mayor very much, because when people talk about law enforcement, they want us all working together, and that's what we've done in this area. I want to thank everybody for that. This cases, and I said, the leadership in the organizations, we have those partnerships and ties, but it's not done without the women and men who are actually investigating those cases. And I want to specifically thank Detective Aiken and Detective Crawford from our agency. They were the lead on these cases, and so Without their help and their assistance, this wouldn't have happened. And I'm going to get into this, the victim in one of these cases, and I'm going to thank her personally later on this week, but she is the one that also helped to tie everything together. The two cases we had in Pasco County, very large amounts. One was $30,000, the other was $900,000. Yes, $900,000. And so when you ask, it wasn't $900,000 in cash. She had a lot of different memorabilia. Jimi Hendrix, guitar, Beatles memorabilia, Salvador Dali artwork. You're talking about a lot of different unique things. And so when our investigators were able to tie this together with Hillsborough, with Tampa, we were able to do a search warrant within Pasco County. And it's amazing when you talk to the detectives and they say, how was a search warrant? They said these people actually just had jewelry everywhere. They had rings within planners. They would open up drawers where you would think that knives and forks would be, and there was just jewelry laying in there. There was all different things. And the nice thing was, because of our partnership, Hillsborough deputies, Tampa cops were able to start identifying everything and say, oh, that's belonging to this case, this went to that case. This is a major ring. But the one point I want to make out there for all our citizens, the victim in one of these cases, she had a company come to her house, and they did work. It turns out after her house was burglarized for $30,000, she kind of had, a suspicion that these people may have been involved. She started doing some digging into that company, and she got some images of people that were there. She got them to Detective Aiken, and they worked together and started identifying who this person was. That started unraveling the case. As it starts unraveling the case, Hillsborough, Tampa, everybody starts putting things together, but I give credit to that victim. And the other part, I go out there going forward. If you have a company that comes to your house to do any type of work, glass work, tiling, anything, you're allowing them inside your house. Don't be ashamed or afraid to say, I'm sorry, you're coming in my house. Do you mind if I take your photograph? Ask them, hey, I'm just going to take your picture. Can I see your driver's, you don't have to get their date of birth or those type of, but just get some valid information, because we take it for granted that, hey, I want to get my air conditioning fixed. Just get in the house and fix it. You never know what this could lead to. And so from our investigation, it led to the fact that these people were going in this house, doing work, and figured out where there's a safe, and that's where they ended up doing the burglary. So if there's something I can implore to everybody out there, know who's coming to your house. Just don't take it for granted that, thank God, they're fixing something that's been broken for a while. Find out who they are, because you don't know if they come back with ill intentions. So with that, I would like to introduce Deputy Chief Lee Barcall from Tampa Police.
Operation Trifecta is a perfect example of how law enforcement works together well in the crime fight, just as we do with special events. In Gasparilla dignitary visits, we have that relationship, and in solving crimes, we do. The relationships that we had made the difference in this case. In the city of Tampa, in a period between May and October, we had 15 residential burglaries in South Tampa that we were able to make arrests based on the teamwork of these three agencies. The MO, or modus operandi, was similar in the same cases: forced entry through the rear of the residence, targeting high-end jewelry. And as Sheriff Cronister said, they were wearing utility construction vests, and they drove a white van. During the course of this investigation, Detective Sergeant Bailey and Detective Smith worked with the other agency detectives, learning and linking the patterns together. That's when the teamwork of Pasco and Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and TPD led to the identification and arrest in the city of Tampa for 4 adults for their involvements in 15 burglaries. Those burglaries in the city of Tampa resulted in over $500,000 worth of property being stolen. Our investigation is still ongoing. We're still looking to make more clearances in this case, but that's where we stand, and we appreciate the hard work of everyone involved.
This time, any of the three of us are available for any questions.
Sheriff, do you think these homes were targeted because of the contents inside? Did these people know what was inside before they broke in?
I don't believe so in every case. In some cases, we believe that that to be the instance, but in some cases, we think they just targeted nicer neighborhoods where they worked under the assumption that there was going to be something of value inside that they could resell.
Sheriff Nocco, the victim that you're speaking of,
Oh, sorry.
that had the Jimi Hendrix and the other valuables in the home, had they come to their house to perform some sort of service work prior to the burglaries? And if so, can you tell us what sort of work they were there to do?
Yes, in that case, we're still trying to find out from the victim in that case, because it's very unique in the fact that it was a quiet residential neighborhood, and they decided to hit the house that had such, unbelievable memorabilia. To have artwork like that, to have, Beatles memorabilia, to have the cash in that house, it's just kind of stands out. And so it kind of, for us, questions, but at the same time, as we're working with the victim to try to find out, and, a lot of times for victims, they don't think, because you just think, oh, this person routinely comes to my house, I'm always letting them in. So we're trying to work with that victim to identify it. However, the other one, she had, it was a glass shower company come in her house, and there was 2 individuals. And it was the one individual that was outside, it was coming around, and she goes, there was something about him, I just didn't feel right. And that's what I go back to, if you own your house, you're a renter, you have somebody come in and do work in your house, just ask, can I take your photograph? I just want to make sure. And if they're up and up community and they're a good company, they're going to do it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense why they say no, except for the fact that they're trying to hide something.
And any of the other cases in Hillsborough and Tampa, were they performing work in any of those homes as well?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Nope, just targeting the nicer homes that, again, that they knew they had a good probability or felt the likelihood that there would be something valuable that they could resell.
Are there more suspects you guys are looking for at this point? I know you said the investigation is ongoing, or do you believe it to be contained within those 6 people?
We believe it's to be contained within these 6 individuals. This criminal enterprise involved these 6 individuals. But we do believe there's more burglaries out there to link these individuals to.
Have you been able to return some of these stolen items to the victims?
Yeah, a large portion of it's been returned. I know in Hillsborough County we have around $30,000, but like Sheriff Nocco said and Assistant Chief Lee Burkall, a lot of this has been returned back to the owner. When the Pasco County Sheriff's Office hit their search warrant, it was almost hitting a search warrant on a jewelry store. So a lot of it was able to be identified and returned back to the owner.
Do you think the victims in these cases could have done anything to prevent this?
I don't. Like I said, this is just a bad recipe. Like most of us, we're at work during the day. We're working hard to provide for our families and for ourselves, and it's criminal enterprises like this that take advantage of and choose to victimize our community.
With a sliding glass door. Now, was that the case in each of these cases, first of all?
Either the rear sliding glass door, they would manipulate that, or break in through a window.
Okay. So the doors were not unlocked?
They were not unlocked. They were secure. So the residents and homeowners were doing everything they could. And again, these individuals wanted to work under the disguise of making everyone who would look at them to believe, hey, they're construction workers. They're supposed to be here.
All of them are Hispanic or Latino?
Yes, correct.
What's the message for other homeowners who are hearing this and seeing that these are people who did something right and did nothing wrong to invite this into their home? So what should people take away from this? How can they protect their own homes?
This is no different than you'll hear any sheriff or chief of police say, if you see something suspicious, report it. Contact somebody. You'll never see an officer or a deputy get upset when they go out, oh, and it's your aunt that was here, or a cousin you knew that was stopping in early. If you see something suspicious, take the time to report it. The home or person you may be protected may be your own home or your own family member.
I know the investigation went on for 3 months. How long were these burglaries going on for? Was it all the way back in the beginning of last year? I know we had May through October, but when did they begin? You know?
Shortly before that, then they started. The detectives did a wonderful job. The sheriff's office detectives, I can't tell you how proud I am of them. They immediately identified this crime trend, and at the same time as they were identifying, hey, we have a pattern of behavior here, they immediately reached out to the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, Tampa Police Department. Are you guys seeing these same type of criminal activity? Yes, we are. Here's what we have. And again, without hesitation, men and women from each of these departments started working closely together, and it's the only reason that this operation it can be deemed as successful as it is.
Do you think these suspects we're going from this jurisdiction to this jurisdiction to this jurisdiction, and it'll take them too long to connect the dots before we've got our loot?
Sometimes we like to give criminals too much credit. I don't think they recognize jurisdictional boundaries. They were just going where they thought they'd get the biggest bang for their buck. It just happened that they ran into 3 agencies that work so well together.
Last question.
Can you just give us an overview, any of you, on your thoughts on people like this who prey on, as you mentioned, hardworking people supporting their families, their spouses, and then they come home and a lot of stuff is gone?
Well, I'll allow the other two to comment as well, but Sheriff Knocko and I were talking about before the press conference that this is why we got into law enforcement. You know, to make sure that people weren't victimized, people weren't bullied, that people weren't taken advantage of. And this is what motivates us. And I guarantee you, if you ask any of the detectives or supervisors that you're surrounded with right now, they're going to tell you the same thing. That's what motivates them to get up or stay out at night or work late or work on a holiday and be as diligent as they are in a case like this, is because I think there's nothing more atrocious to any of us than someone who takes advantage of another innocent victim. Sheriff Knocko, would you like to say anything?
Like Sheriff Crosser said, I mean, this is what makes you want to do the job. This is the stuff that our detectives, our deputies, our forensics go out there and they say, this is a great case, because it was an absolute great case. And when you can say we partnered together, it makes it even better. The one thing I like to say from a personal standpoint is that, you know, you hear a lot about, you know, criminal justice reform and those type of things, and I do. I think personally, I know Sheriff Cronister, we have a deep passion in the fact that there's people with mental health and substance abuse, and they commit crimes because of their addiction, because of what they're going through, and we need to get them help. These people are, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who coherently went out of their way to target victims. These are the people that need to be in prison. These are the people that will prey on people. These are the people that we're very proud to go after, because operations like this, because of our deputies and detectives, our communities are much safer.
Yes, our detectives live for cases like this to help out the victims. So I think it's twofold, helping the victims and then also for the suspects. If you're considering committing a crime like this in the Tampa Bay region, think twice, because you will get caught.